In this video, I will be explaining why I don't think the LEGO Eevee is a great set. This came out in February of 2026. It has 587 pieces, 0 stickers, and costs $60. So if you don't know about Eevee, here's some Pokédex information. Its ability to evolve into many forms allows it to adapt smoothly and perfectly to any environment. And then on the right side, there's information about the LEGO set. So there's the piece count, the height, 7.6 inches, weighs 14.2 grams. And then these are the parts of Eevee that you're able to articulate: the head, ears, legs, and tail. There's a lot to like about Eevee, but ultimately I find that this falls a little short. First, I'll take a look at the tail, which I think is done incredibly well. The amount of texture that's on this tail is pretty much perfect. I couldn't have asked for anything better. And to me, sometimes it looks like this could have come straight out of an animal. I think a real winner for the tail is at the end, this 2x2 with 3 spikes on it. That's a really good piece for this tail because of the amount of different angles that this piece creates. It causes light to hit it in a multitude of ways, and it makes it look super detailed. The way that this is able to be articulated is if it's pointing up like this, you can swivel the tail from side to side, but you cannot move it up and down. So if I try to push the tail down, nothing happens. And that's just the way that the joint works. But if I want to move the tail up and down, I can spin the tail first, and then now you're able to move the tail up and down like this. On the back of Eevee's legs, there are these pink patches, which is accurate, but I didn't even know was a thing until I bought this set. Eevee's legs have a decent amount of articulation. You can rotate them forwards and backwards, and the same thing with its feet. So let me try a couple of poses. First, I'll try a sitting pose for Eevee. That wasn't too bad, and it looks like a pretty decent sitting pose to me. Now let's try a walking pose. This is what I came up with for the walking pose. And this is what the other side of that walking pose looks like. For Eevee's head, you can move it slightly up and down, and you can also rotate it to the side, but just note that as you rotate it, it's always going to be tilted upwards because the joint is mounted at an angle. Eevee's ears can also be rotated. I like the way that Eevee's mane is done with the amount of curved pieces, and that same 2x2 with 3 spikes at the end gives it that nice texture. I also like Eevee's ears. They're brick built and have a nice shape to them. Last but least, let's talk about the part of the set which I really don't like, and that's Eevee's face. Looking at it straight on, you can see just how rectangular it is. You'd expect it to be a little bit more round, and also for the bottom part of Eevee's face to be slightly wider, but just looking at it here, it accomplishes nothing more than the Smart Play Eevee. That one is a 4x4 piece. This one is 6x8, and they didn't manage to add any new complexity to the shape of his face, and I find that very disappointing. This is a set where I think owning it makes me actually like it a lot less. On the box art, you can see some pretty good angles of Eevee, but if you own it and display it on a shelf, you'll see some of the really not so good ones. So as I turn Eevee, the face just becomes a complete straight line when I look at it like this. And this is just really disturbing to me. It doesn't look great. It looks very off and kind of weird to me. Like it's an animal, and the line at the right edge of it is a straight line. Now, these are two words that you knew I was going to say before I even started the video, and that's Mega Blocks. Look at their Eevee. The face has so much complexity to it. It's actually more round, and it has a snout, so when you look at it from the side, it's not going to look like this. You might think, well, it's not so fair to compare this Eevee to the Mega Blocks one because the Mega Blocks one is much bigger than this. And I think it's more of a criticism of the decision making because they've chosen this really awkward middle ground between the Smart Play Eevee and the Mega Bloks Eevee, and so they can't actually do a proper job in making the face complex and have a good round shape to it. To prove my point even more, I've taken the heads of Pikachu, Munchlax, and Eevee, and I'm rotating slowly so you can see the different angles. I personally think the shape of Pikachu's head is done the best, and even Munchlax's is better, even though it's smaller. So, in my opinion, this one part of Eevee just makes the set kind of a letdown for me. Here's a comparison between the $60 Eevee, the $70 Munchlax, and the $200 Pikachu and Pokeball. Relative to the other two sets that I'm showing, the Eevee isn't too bad value wise. $60 for 587 pieces doesn't sound so bad, but just know that a lot of pieces in the set are small. However, considering the expensive nature of LEGO, this feels about right. If you are considering buying this for $60, I would suggest not to do that and instead get the $60 Smart Play compatible Eevee and Lapras set. I think that one has a much better Eevee for the size of it. Because it's so small, it having a flat face doesn't feel like a problem compared to this set. And you also get a Lapras alongside it as a bonus. I understand that Smart Play is not in every country, but just be patient and that set will be out eventually, hopefully for everyone. Overall, I really cannot recommend this set, even if it is the cheapest of the initial wave, just because I think the head is severely flawed.